Okay, so this is Benson. He's the real star of this channel, just so you know. This newbie tag will be all about him. He will appear somewhere in every single one of my videos, and what can I say? I mean, he's the best purchase I have ever made. I mean, look at him. He glows! Anyways, hi, my name is Madison, and welcome to my channel. This is going to be my Booktube Newbie Tag, because I'm actually doing this after 5 months of trying and failing to actually put out a reading vlog, and then I finally did, and I didn't hate it. So here I am with a newbie tag, because it's finally happening. My channel is finally happening. Let's go. I'm so excited. So, this is just me going to be answering a bunch of questions about myself and what I want to do with this channel and everything, about the reasons I made it, and just me being an absolute nerd and loving books, because that's who I am. A little bit about me: I am 15, asexual, and just I love everything creative. I love reading, I love writing, I love art, and I love films, and I love music, and just everything about, you know, the creative world. It's just me. I just love it. And so I thought I would make this booktube channel about the books I'm reading, and also feature, you know, me playing piano and messing around and maybe writing a bit. I don't know. We're just gonna see what happens. Guys, I'm gonna answer some of these questions. I'm excited. So the first of these questions is, why did you start this channel? So back when COVID happened for me in March of 2020, I was just finishing out my freshman year of high school, and my classes just didn't happen. I didn't have to go to any of my classes. Like, school essentially for me got canceled, and I discovered my ebook library that my school system and my public library system in my county offered. I became obsessed with reading during this time. It literally just, my obsession from like when I was in like early middle school and elementary school, where I would read like a book every other day, like came back to me full force. I read 97 books last year, and I was really loving reading. And then I had to go back to online classes, like full force online classes, in like late September, early October 2020, and wow, my reading slump. I just had like a 7 months reading slump that just kind of destroyed everything for me, and I wasn't reading hardly at all, and I found myself, you know, just, I don't know, I found myself kind of losing who I was and kind of going down this downward spiral, with just a lot of stuff going on. And reading for me was always a safe place, a comfort place, and you know, that's what I did during COVID, because I was so stressed out and so just anxious and everything about the world, everything. So just, you know, losing reading for a time was really scary to me. I didn't know quite what I was going to do with my life if I couldn't read. And I know, midlife crisis at the age of 15, what is happening, I don't know, but I wanted to start this channel so I could get back into reading, and I would have motivation to pick up a book, because I don't know about you, but vlogging, I feel like I want to finish a lot of books, and be able to talk about these books and nerd out about these books that I love, you know, in my vlogs. And so that's essentially what this is going to be, is a motivation for me to continue reading and continue my love for reading, even when I am not always in the best place in my life, because just, it makes me happy to talk about things I love. Which I think is a universal thing for a lot of people. So, you know, that's really just my goal with this. Question 2 is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to BookTube? So, I don't know about this question. I mean, I am pretty average. I'm a white girl living in like the southeastern United States, and you know, I just love reading YA, fantasy, and science fiction, and also adult and middle grade of those genres. Like, I'm pretty average. And I'm not really thinking about like fun and unique things. Like, this isn't really simply for what I can bring to BookTube, but rather just me finding, this is mainly for me, you know, just finding myself a home, and just finding myself just having fun, you know. I don't really think about what I can bring to BookTube, other than just me, and there's nothing really that special about me. The third question is, what are you most excited about for this new channel? So I'm definitely excited about, you know, the things I've talked about before, reading a lot more, and just obsessing over books, but also because of how young I am, I feel like I'm behind on like the most hyped up books of like the last 10 years. So this channel that I'm very excited for is finding some hyped up book series, and finding just a lot of books that kind of influenced, you know, young adult and middle grade and adult like culture for science fiction and fantasy, and really just reading them and obsessing over them. And maybe since a lot of them are going to be like books we've heard about before, you guys have probably heard about before, you get to see me experience it for the first time, which will be most of these books, is just experiencing it for the first time. And I'm very, very excited for that. I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, the fourth question is, why do you love reading? And I feel like I kind of talked about this when I was talking about my reading slump. You know, reading is an integral part of who I am. I've been reading for as long as I can remember, and, you know, I feel like going through that kind of phase where you feel like you're not reading anything and you don't feel like motivated to pick up a book, it kind of feels like you're losing who you are. And I've always loved reading. I've loved being in these different worlds. I've loved learning things about other cultures and ideas that I wouldn't necessarily have learned about from where I live personally. And it's been so amazing to learn about these things through stories and consume them in a way that is accessible to me. I don't know about you, but reading news articles don't really work for me. So just reading them in fiction that is not so much fiction as you would expect, it's really, really amazing. And I absolutely love reading for that. I love being able to learn about things, and I also love just escaping into these worlds, these fantasy worlds. I love just obsessing about them. A lot of my friends come from book-loving communities in real life, my IRL friends. And that's kind of weird to say, but a lot of them come from these book-loving places. And so, you know, finding your friends where you can exchange books and exchange recommendations, you know, that's really amazing to me. And I really love how reading connects me to so many people in my life and really helps me form deeper connection with people in my life, you know. And I don't know, it's great. Now, question number 5 is, what book or series got you into reading? And wow, 3rd grade me is about to be so happy. So I still have this copy of this book, but in 3rd grade at my Scholastic book sale in like September, October, when was this? 2013? In 2013, I picked up this book, and who knew that it would get me obsessed with reading, and that is The Land of Stories by Colfer. So you can tell that this book is like 8 years old. But I love the story. I've reread this book so much, and I plan on rereading it soon also. But just, it holds such a special place in my heart. It really did get me into reading. It's kind of a funny story. I got this book at Scholastic Book Fair. One of the first books I bought with, you know, my parents' money, because, you know, I was like 8. But I picked up this book and I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting premise. I like it. And I started reading it, but really didn't read much of it. And I remember my mom used to sit me down on the couch in our family room, living room, whatever you want to call it, and would make me read for 30 minutes every day, especially like in like December, because I hadn't read hardly any of it. And I hated it at first. I hated having to sit down and read for 30 minutes. And then I got about halfway through the book, and slowly but surely that 30 minutes on like the timer would go off, and I would keep reading, and it would be like an hour. It would be an hour and a half, and then my mom would tell me to actually get up, and I was like, no, I have to finish. And as soon as I finished this book, I said, we have to go and we have to buy the rest. And so I've bought every single book of this series like the day it came out after finishing this first book, like the hardcovers and everything. And so I don't know, this series really has a special place in my heart because it really did start my book obsession after finishing this book. And then I read the second one in like a matter of like 5 days. With school and everything. And I kept reading and I couldn't stop. I became obsessed, and I think my parents kind of regret that decision now, especially because middle school me and elementary school me used a lot of their money to buy books. It's a problem, but I think they do kind of regret that decision, especially my mom regrets that decision of making me read. But I don't know, I owe this series a lot, and I owe my mom a lot for making me sit down and read, because now I'm obsessed, and, you know, it's part of who I am. So question 6 is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? And I don't know, I don't really have any specific questions like that I would just ask just certain booktubers. I feel like this would be a broad question for anyone who's ever like filmed or made videos, and that is just, how do you get comfortable on camera? Because I'm certainly not there yet. I don't know if it's like time or if there's certain ways you feel better about being yourself and not being just so like robotic. Also, how do you get better at like speaking and talking about like books, because I'm not very good at talking about like thoughts and feelings and like reviewing books. Is there like any special trick to it, or is it seriously just time and practice? Because if that's the case, this first like year is going to be pretty rough trying to get me to figure out how to articulate my feelings for a bunch of books, because yeah, it's gonna be interesting. Question 7 says, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? And definitely for me, it'll be just not looking at the numbers. You know, I keep telling myself that I'm doing this for myself. I'm making this book channel just to see, you know, but look back 10 years in time and look at my first videos and see how awkward and just how much of an angsty teenager I was, or whatever. I don't know, it's more like awkward teenager. You know, that's definitely I wanted to see for this journey, and I feel like to do that and to keep myself motivated to keep making videos, I have to not look at the numbers, not look at the views, not look at the likes, not look, you know, at any of the statistics. That's not what I'm here for. Also, I don't really know how to look at like certain statistics in like the YouTube Creator Studio or whatever. I don't really know how to work that. It's fine. I'm just posting videos. We're having fun. We're figuring it out as we go. Question 8 is, when did you start reading? So I already talked about this. I started reading for as long as I can remember, really got obsessed with reading in like 3rd grade. And I mean, that, yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Question 9, where do you read? So I don't know if you can tell, but my mind is kind of all over the place, and along with that, I get bored very, very easily. I'm not exactly sure why, but my attention span just went like down and then out the window. Like I just threw it out the window, my attention span. So yeah, it's quite interesting. But so to combat that, especially when I'm reading, I move places where I read a lot. So I read pretty much everywhere in my house. Question 10 is, what kind of books do you like to read? So I think I talked about this a little bit before, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I love reading sci-fi and fantasy and middle grade, young adult, and adult genres. However, I am mainly focusing right now on young adult and middle grade and trying to catch up on all the hyped up book series from the past 10 years. I will eventually get back to adult fantasy and sci-fi. I'm at a place right now where I don't think I'm ready for that in my age range right now. Although I have read some and it's been a lot of fun. I read like Lord of the Rings in 7th grade when I was 12 years old in 3 weeks. 1 book a week. Yeah, I'm crazy. It's fine. And finally, the last question, question 11, what does your book collection look like? So I wanted to add in this question simply because I wanted to talk about it real quick. My bookshelves are like elementary and middle school me bought all the books on here mainly, and then the more recent books I have are ones I've been gifted or bought with like Barnes & Noble gift cards. I don't really buy books with my own money anymore. I talked about the ebook library, which I read from, and I wanted to put this out here that, you know, you don't have to have a lot of books. You don't have to read a lot of physical books to be considered, you know, a book nerd. You know, if you don't buy a bunch of books, that's okay. I certainly don't buy a bunch of books, hardly ever. I think the last time I bought a book was 2 years ago, and that was only one. Before that, it had been several years. But you know, I feel like I wanted to put that out there. You know, that's going to conclude this video. That's all the questions. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed Benson in the background. Like I said, he's in every single one of my videos somewhere or the other. And if you want to join me on this booktube journey, because I can see myself doing this for a very, very long time, and you want to see me grow, definitely grow, grow, and, you know, just obsess about all these different books and catch up on all the hyped books of the past 10 years and everything, make sure to hit the subscribe button and follow me on Goodreads if you want, and you don't want to see my obnoxious face everywhere, like, you can do that too. So and yeah, if you want to go check out one of my reading blog to see if that's for you, I posted that one last Wednesday. my schedule, especially for just like June and July. We'll see when I go back to school. I might shorten it to once a week. But for right now, I plan on posting videos every Wednesday and Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to come along on the journey with me, make sure let me know, and let me know if you have any of like the advice I asked about, you know, becoming more comfortable on camera and not rambling like I am right now. And I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you hopefully in my next video. Bye!